So welcome in another episode of Greg's Weekend Rental Podcast. I, of course, am Greg, joined here by...
Jeremy.
Hello, Jeremy.
Hello.
So hockey card update. We talked about it. The OPG cards that we're selling on Heritage Auctions right here, hometown Regina. Ran on the global news, actually.
Yeah.
Like, it got a segment here. And I guess I'll tell you the end price first. $3.72 million is what it closed at.
USD.
Yeah, we're Canadian, so...
Add, 35% to that?
Give or take. It's funny, because you'd ask me, like, oh, what's he going to pay in taxes? You can just convert the US dollar to Canadian, and that just covers your taxes. So, like, this guy will probably walk away with 3.72 million Canadian at the end of it.
Yeah, it could be.
It'll be close. Like you said, it's around a 30% conversion US dollar to Canadian. So, I mean, he's looking at 4.8 million Canadian.
Yeah.
He can buy the city of Regina. He can become mayor with that kind of money here.
Yeah, and then maybe you can put a legitimate collectibles store here.
Anything, right? Just like a brand new revival for our scene here.
Yeah.
As you were saying, I mean, $3.72 million paid for it now. I still don't think it's going to get opened. I think it could have went for a bit more even, dare I say. Maybe that's crazy. I don't know. But just when you talk about the EV inside of being, 20 whatever Gretzky's, I don't know.
I think the risk is still too great, probably.
So you just buy it, leave it sealed, and that's just going to go right on someone's mantle now?
Maybe, yeah.
A big factory sealed box. Do you think it'll ever get to a point where people like do breaks on it? You know, like Pokemon and sports cards and stuff, it's kind of like rich people gambling with a lot of the premium products. And
Right.
It's like,
well, I mean, obviously, if you're spending that kind of money on that, you're going to have a lot more probably.
yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I can see someone maybe gambling with it.
What if it was bought by like Whatnot? And they're going to like do a box?
Well, you know what? I saw on the news feature, it was bought by a Canadian.
Oh, really?
So it was coming back to Canada.
Really?
Yeah.
That makes sense. It's funny. A hockey product, of course, a Canadian bought it.
Yeah.
Like, of course.
Yeah. So that was like the takeaway. It was like, oh, it's coming back to Canada.
Did it say like where? Probably
No.
Toronto.
No,
let's
they
be
wouldn't.
honest.
I mean, they wouldn't.
Docs the guy. Where's it going? Where's it going? Like,
It's going, like, I mean, come on. It's going to Vancouver or Toronto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's literally, there's two places in Canada with money, and like, yeah, Saskatchewan ain't it.
Although now,
Yeah,
someone has a
now.
little bit of money.
GDP just doubled here with this sale.
GDP.
Seriously. But like, seriously, you get into the world of box breaks and pack opening and stuff. I know first edition base set booster boxes of Pokemon, I'm pretty sure first edition packs still go for 4,000 or 5,000. And your odds of pulling a holo aren't good.
Right.
It's not
And they
awful.
weigh them too, right? Like there's heavy packs, light packs.
Yes, but if you're doing a true box break, it has to be blind.
Right.
So like you're looking at, Charizard on the one end,
Yeah.
possibly 200,000, or you're looking at Clefairy Doll on the other end, which is like I don't even know what a 10 would go for. Maybe $500, $600 if you're lucky.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there.
Yeah.
So I mean, hey, why don't we crack some OPG packs at? How many packs do you get in the thing there? 16 boxes, 48 packs.
That's
All right.
a lot.
So 48 packs per box, 16 box. Quick math me. 3.7 mil divided by 16. What are we doing there? How
Don't ask
quickly
me.
can we
Don't ask
break
me.
that down? 48 packs, 2,000 per pack, 96,000 a box, 96 times 16. Oh, that's not enough. That's crazy. Wow. 2,000, 4,000 a pack, 5,000, 6,000 a pack?
Yeah.
Jesus.
It's like theoretical pulls there.
Yeah, it will just even to like break even on a box. I think it's like 6,000 a pack there. Oh my God.
Well,
Then you get nothing out of it. Like zero. I think it's like you pull Gretzky or you don't.
yeah. Yeah.
At
No
least
way any other card in there is going to be worth anywhere
even close.
to-
Yeah. Exactly. At least with Pokemon, you can, if you get a holo, you're not doing so bad.
Yeah.
Like Poliwrath, yeah, you kind of blew it, but like, at least you have Magneton. But you get something. You get some value out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Retain 30% value or value. Retain 30% value of the break.
Yeah.
There's nothing going on with these hockey cards if you break it.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, it's way too much of a gamble.
So 3.72 million for the hockey cards. That's the world of sports where, 3.7 mil gets spent every weekend, to be completely honest. Video games did have their big thing going on, though, last week now, I believe. I think we're 1 week removed from the Heritage Signature Auction. We also had the Golden Elite take place not long ago, and they'd had some decent results. But the Heritage Signature, the big item coming out of it was the Zelda, $288,000 for a first print 8.0A CGC Zelda. Did you see the whole story about that too?
A little bit. You
Okay.
might have to fill me in.
Yeah, so that was on eBay first and foremost.
Right.
$18,000, I think it was, and was purchased by someone in the Discord.
Okay.
So, like, real time, we watched him buy it, and, the general consensus was this will not. You'll get backdoored. Like, everyone knew the transaction wouldn't complete on the eBay purchase. There was
Right.
no,
Yeah.
you know.
You're going to get backdoored.
Yeah, like, if you've ever bought something super cheap on eBay that's actually expensive, like, but paying $50 for something worth 5,000, say, or $100 for something worth 1,000,
Yeah.
those sales, you get backdoored. People message immediately. There are people, I genuinely think there are people who shark on eBay on completed listings.
Oh, yeah.
Looking for stuff.
I think they literally just browse recently sold.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right? Because why bother looking for it live when you can just look at what's sold?
Yeah.
Send the guy a message, make an offer. You break eBay TOS and everything, but like, God, eBay doesn't care about anything.
Yeah.
So I genuinely think there are people. Anyways, he purchased it off eBay. It got canceled, obviously.
Right.
And the big speculation was that it got backdoored or whatever, but it sounds like someone had actually just reached out in good nature, I guess. It's hard to say. Is it scorched earth or is it good nature? Is
Right.
it, I can't have it, no one will have it?
Yeah.
Or is it, I'll help this guy out and tell him what to do? But
Yeah.
regardless, he got the information that this game is worth a lot more than you sold it for.
Right.
So he went to CGC. I think he was suggested, I don't know. But eventually was flown out to CGC. Did a whole, like, CGC made a little video about them grading it and like, oh my God.
I did see some of that.
Okay, yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
So you saw that part. And then to Heritage Auctions, $288,000.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty positive that from about $120,000 onwards, it was two people. So if you remove one person from that bidding pool there, 120 to 288 was two people.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's really what it comes down to is the relative age of the buying pool is still pretty relatively young. There's very few people making money that can justify spending that kind of amount, even up to $100,000. It's like your buying pool just drops.
Oh, significantly.
Yeah.
$100,000 in video games still is a unicorn.
Yeah.
Like at the signature auction, the biggest, auctions we have here, I don't even know if there was anything in the past couple that cracked $100,000. We had the Ocarina of Time WATA 10.0
Right.
at Golden. That
Right.
did 148, I think.
Something like that, yeah.
So that cracked, This auction, there was the Zelda for 288 and Super Mario Bros. 2.
Yeah.
Was a 9.8 A+. Sold for over $100,000. Incredible. Until you see that it sold for $300,000 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Which, yeah.
Yeah.
The same with The Legend of Zelda. Sold for $700,000 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Incredible sales, but still tremendously down from where this market was.
Yeah.
And I don't think sports and stuff have recovered either, to be completely honest with you.
No, I don't think anything has recovered to those highs.
No, not in the
Not
collectibles
Pokemon,
world.
not comics. Maybe some artwork has stood the test of time, some comic art.
Yeah,
But even
art's
then-
more interesting because you get into a more one-of-one world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're less subjected to the wild swings of comparables. So
Yeah, exactly.
it's kind of an overall market trend rather than a singular sale that can tank a whole market for Zelda,
No, 100% though.
Yeah.
If by some chance, I don't think it will happen, but if by some chance another Zelda shows up in the next 1 to 3 months, that 288,000 I don't think will stand again.
No.
Just the fact that it was two people.
Unless it's higher grade, like much higher grade.
Yeah, much higher.
Yeah.
Like-
It'd have to be pretty
9.0 plus.
Yeah.
I think anything from 7.5 to 8.5 would just hurt.
Yeah.
It would just be like, oh, there's another one. We removed someone from the bidding pool.
Yeah.
It
It'd probably do half.
It genuinely might.
Yeah.
288 could fall down to 150 very, very easily.
Yeah.
And it's not even a weakness. It's just a product of how big this hobby still, or how small this hobby still is
Yeah.
of video games,
Yeah.
especially at that level.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean, like when you look at the buying pool of comic collectors and original comic art collectors, you have decades upon decades of historical prices and buyers who are, well established in life and have much more money to spend on those kinds of things.
Yep.
They've had decades to build their collections, whereas, game collecting still, it's like, I mean, really, is it like 20 years old?
Yeah, give or
like
take.
serious, you
No,
know.
I know. Because people be like, I've been collecting games since the 90s. And it's like, you buying games for $2 at the thrift store
Yeah.
and not knowing anything about them. I'm sorry, but that's just not really the same. I don't know the word, but it's not the same kind of collecting.
Yeah.
Where we're talking about like nuanced, knowledgeable, uh, strategic, purposeful.
Yeah.
Like actually purposeful collecting. How long have people known what a first print Zelda even is?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? How long?
Didn't mean anything for years unless it was maybe just oval versus circle seal.
Yeah, exactly, right? So
Yeah.
you knew no Rev A, you knew ovals, you knew circle seals. That's it.
Yeah.
But like that was even still, I don't know if it's general public knowledge to identify a first print Zelda.
No, I don't think so.
So
there's so many barriers. There's seal authenticity. There's, you know, small text on box that most people don't know about.
yeah.
So
Yeah, it's funny because even Rev A versus no Rev. Do you know what Rev A means?
I mean, it's a revision of
No, what's it revised? Like it's a very specific.
is it the card screws or whatever?
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
That's what I figured it was. Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, like, you know, just little things where I don't even know if people really, I don't know, man. It's tough.
Yeah.
It's just tough to get this information out there. But going back to the signature and prices, also right underneath, so we had two games break 100,000, and that was it. Because of course, Nintendo World Championships though, right underneath at $84,000 for a 6.5. 6.5 being, you know, eye appeal, if you want to go into that world, the world of sports and stuff. Eye appeal makes a big difference, even though it's a 6.5. But the eye appeal of this cartridge was actually super nice. And it did include some extra badges, photos, some extra little pieces of provenance.
I think that helps.
It's funny, right? So that's what a lot of people thought too. And then we got to hear from the friend of the person who bought it. So not firsthand information, but, you know, pretty darn close. And he said that the badges and stuff weren't even a consideration. Like, did not matter. He was bidding on the cartridge alone and was like, oh, if anyone wants to buy the extra stuff, like, reach out.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, the other guy that was bidding against
he
him
might have been pushing.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah,
he might have been pushing.
I think it's a bonus for sure. When you have like provenance surrounding it, that's always a bonus. Even if the person who wins is like, I don't care. Like, well, the other person probably did.
What is that a cares to the tune of 5,000 or 1,000? We're talking $84,000.
You just never know. It's instinctual, right? It's like primal bidding. It's like you're just like you're competing. It's competition.
That
if you
is
have
true.
the money, you want to win. You know.
Yeah, and I mean this NWC cartridge hitting 84,000 on a 6.5, like that's 2021 price levels.
Yeah.
Like, I know we were just talking about the Zelda and the Mario there failing to get anywhere near. NWC, out of everything here, like maybe surprisingly, maybe not surprisingly, NWC has a lot of opinions going both way. I'll get Pat's opinion on NWC. What do you think he thinks?
I don't know. I mean, he was on Pawn Stars
Yeah,
hawking those things. So.
does he like that one? Like, it's not a sealed video game. Maybe there's value here. I don't know.
Yeah, that's right.
But seriously, 84,000. Do you think it should be? Like, is NWC? What's your mind on it?
I mean, it's something that I don't know if it appeals to me specifically, but I get the value because it was such a important time for Nintendo in American history. Like, it was specifically an American thing. So that's like, you know, Nintendo's shining moment in history is probably the NWC 1990, right?
It's up there.
Yeah.
It sucks because like we're so young. I don't, you know,
No,
I hear about it and I
mean, I was certainly alive then, but
barely.
I was too young to know what it was. But there was kids, obviously, people older than us, 10 years older than us.
Yeah, that's about it. 10 years older.
Yeah, who would have a very probably fond memory of that time, especially if you lived in the area.
Well, yeah, I was about to say Robin Mihara. Minhara. What's his last name? Is it Min or Me?
Mihara, I think.
Okay, just Robin Mihara. You get fact check. But he was like one of the competitors, and I think a winner on one of his things, and he's still in the community and does stuff. He's on eBay. Shout out to Robin. He's selling some signed stuff on eBay. So he has works with WATA sometimes to do signed stuff, and like, you know, you can get a winner's signed game that was from not like a game specifically from it, but you know what I mean. Yeah. One of the games, like a Rad Racer cartridge signed by Robin.
Yeah,
kind of neat.
Yeah.
So sure. You are right that 100% there's collector aura there, provenance there that I don't think will ever go away.
Yeah, and genuine organic collectability for something like that. It wasn't a shelf item. You had to be at a very specific, at the right time at the right place to get something like that back in the day.
Yeah.
So
And even, going back 10 years ago, it was already over $10,000.
Yeah.
Like it was, it's always been that piece of Nintendo collecting where if you are a serious collector, you know what NWC is.
Yeah.
And you might be trying to get one.
Yeah. And I think it appeals to guys who are more into like prototype stuff too.
Yep.
Like it's kind of in that vein.
No, I agree with you fully there, where you get, like you said, off the shelf items. This was never sold.
Yeah.
And that is like, for collectors, that's like gets the brain juices going there.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh my God, you could never buy this. Like it was only distributed this way. I think it's a pop 90 though, funny enough. Like the actual population of it, the count is quite high.
Yeah.
In 90.
Yeah.
As far as sealed games world goes.
Right.
So.
Yeah. And it seems like they're quite difficult to get. They very rarely sell.
NWC?
Yeah. I mean,
historically, yes.
Yeah.
We've getting one almost every 3 months for the past year or two.
Yeah.
Like we've seen more in the past couple of years, I think, than we saw in like the past 5 years.
Yeah.
It's weird.
And that's probably due to the market having gone so crazy.
I think so
people
too.
wanting to cash in finally.
Yeah, finally, right? It's like, oh, okay. It's funny because when in 2021 and stuff, we saw like one or two hit the market when prices, were going to be at their absolute peaks. Like I think we saw an NWC sell for $180,000 at that time.
Right.
And I think...
And was that an 8.0?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I believe an 8.
Yeah.
Maybe an 8.5. We've only ever seen like 8.0, 8.5, I think. I don't even know if N9s exist.
I don't know.
You get into that world of like a hand glued label that just shows bleeding and like they were used to, you know why, but with that oh no. Oh no,
okay.
my brain.
I have something for you.
I had somewhere else I was going with that. I had an incomplete thought. Oh no. Oh no. What were the words just prior?
Prototype, hand glued labels.
People, the labels.
Prototype people.
Oh, sorry. When the prices were going up.
Yeah.
2021, when it was going up the highest it was, I think people were scared to sell. I think you get into that greed mindset.
Yeah.
Where it's like, man, I can't sell now because it might go up to X.
Yeah.
And now that it's like 2 years after the fact and prices of like, oh, okay, it's not going up anymore. So I can finally sell it now for half of what it was doing at the peak. But now I can at least mentally feel okay putting it to market, getting my $70,000, $80,000 or whatever, and at least not being scared that it's going to be worth, 200, 300, 400 the next day.
Yeah.
Because I think 2021 really screwed with people in that sense too.
Yeah.
Where you start getting that mindset, like reverse FOMO of like, oh my God, if I sell it, like it's going to go up again. It's just going to keep going up. So I can't sell.
Yeah. And it really reminds me of that Warren Buffett mantra where he's like, be fearful when people are greedy and be greedy when people are fearful.
The classic.
Yeah. So it's like, if you didn't capitalize on it back then, sorry, but
100%. And now you see him hitting the market. I think now that everything's quieted down, people are less scared, and it's like, okay, I can sell it and be happy. And $84,000 is huge.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And
I mean, without these crazy wild swings, it's maybe more predictable now.
I agree. 100%. Yeah. I think people feel safer coming in at 84,000 now. Because it's like, oh, good. It's sold 5 or 6 times. People are still paying 50, 60, 70. Like I said, it's a pop 90. They exist. Like that is higher than, Zelda selling for 288K. I think it's pop 4 or 5.
Mm-hmm.
But they shouldn't be hitting the market this much. Period.
Yeah.
They just shouldn't be. So at some point we will go through another NWC drought where no one wants to sell it again.
Yeah.
Because it shouldn't be hitting the market this much. It just shouldn't.
Yeah. And I wonder if all those previous sales were from collectors who've had it for, over a decade, that kind of stuff.
I would greatly assume so, right?
Yeah.
Because we saw even on Comic Connect, the Nicholas Membersweiler, one of the competitors, finally sold off his cartridge, his tombstone, his name plaque, his trophy. Like some longtime people, like you said, were cashing out, and fair play to him. I think he walked away with over $100,000.
Yeah.
All said and done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of course.
So there's going to be sort of a initial transfer, and then collectors will hold on for another decade.
And that's, I think, what happened with the hobby in general there, is we went from a lot of these rare sealed stuff, NWCs and stuff, it came out of the hands of normal folk. Like, say, me and you who just have stuff through the past 15 years of collecting, right? We just happen to have super expensive, super rare stuff because we've been doing it for so long.
Yeah.
We can't necessarily afford to buy these things, especially at current prices, but we still own them. And I think a lot of the dumping and reorganizing of the assets has gone that way over the past 2 or 3 years. Where, we went through this buy-up phase. So everyone like me and you lost our items. They're bought up by people with more money. Then they dump them to like people with more money who now have these items and don't necessarily need to dump them until there's a reason to again. So you just kind of go up tiers until it's like, okay, are more people with more money going to come in, or is no one going to care anymore? And like the folks like me and you can start buying again.
Right.
Because as prices come down, yeah, I'm starting to pick up some N64 games I couldn't afford. Smash 64. Yeah, sold for $144,000 at peak.
Crazy.
That makes no sense.
Yeah.
So 9.4 now sold at this auction for 7,000. What is that? Like a drop of 95%? 144,000 down to 7K?
Yeah.
So we went from a world where
crazy.
you cannot, like, you literally can't buy one to, oh man, like, I could realistically make 7K work.
Yeah.
If I really wanted to.
Yeah. And you know, all these crazy losses too, I can see someone using that to their advantage too. You know, if they paid a lot of money for something and are looking for write-offs, you know, that's a huge loss.
I think that's also why we're seeing so much of this stuff come back.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah.
Is we are getting now losses.
You can just write it off.
Yeah. Writing off a loss of $150,000. I mean,
well, to some people that's nothing. So
no, I know.
You know.
And getting that tax write-off right now, you know, say that's a write-off of 23. I don't even know. You get that right now. That's kind of like getting cash right now for the item.
Mm-hmm.
So you get not only, you know, sure, you take a loss of 80%, but at least you get back that extra on the write-off, and then you can utilize that money immediately. Because a lot of these people are very active with their money.
Yeah.
Period.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So if you're just sitting on dead money, even if it's $100,000, it's like, man, I could wait 4 years. Maybe it'll come back. Or with everything, literally everything right now is going crazy. It's like stocks, crypto, everything. You just use your money.
Yeah.
You get it back and you use it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I know, you know, a lot of these sentiments where it's like, oh, look at those guys losing all that money. It's like, well, they probably really didn't in the end of things.
I mean, yeah, it's, you know, I don't know. I never enjoy just being like, ha ha, look at these guys.
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't know.
But you
so
see
lame.
that a lot.
Oh, 100% you do, man.
You know.
There's a lot of miserable folk in the world of, you know, it's because the whole narrative got set that this is only investors and speculators buying all this stuff. It's bad people buying these games. And it's like, what? Why?
Yeah.
Why can't it just be some normal dude who likes games who, like, you know,
Yeah.
a doctor? All you have to do is be a doctor or something. And, like, you can afford this stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you can have a very normal profession and do this stuff. A business owner.
Yeah.
A successful business owner who just, like, likes collectibles.
And I think a lot of people just like to crap on stuff they can't afford to own, or, you know, so a price has eclipsed their buying power and now they're salty about it. It's easier to just crap on it rather
than even try to understand it or do anything with it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
because at the end of the day, no one's in control of the market. So
yeah, if stuff's selling for what it sells for, like, what do you mean no one's in control? WATA's in control. They set their own prices.
The boogeyman.
Exactly. Literally, right?
That's right.
Ruining the whole market. One other thing, though, Dari, I guess I'll two more for me, and then you can give me something that's caught your eye. The Famicom Super Mario Bros. Was a VGA 90 Plus. This is a later production copy, so this is kind of going into more of an oval seal. North American copy, I think, would be the comparison here. Like quite late in the Famicom production. A 90 Plus, highest grade we've seen come to auction, $26,000 for a Japanese Super Mario Bros.
That seems crazy to me.
Me too. I like Japanese stuff. I've been pumping Japanese stuff, and like this here gets me like, oh my god, are we taking this too far? Like we need to stop. I just. You know, a VGA 90 sold in October for $13,000. Just literally doubled the price, going from a 90 to a 90 plus.
Yeah.
And 6 months? 5 months? I just, it terrifies me.
Yeah.
It's the only way I can put it. It terrifies me.
Yeah.
It's not in early production. We don't have VGA pop reports. We don't know how many of these are out there. It just feels like a massive, massive gamble.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, I don't want to say it's kind of a blue ocean, but in some ways it is, because
what do you mean by that, a blue ocean?
Like it's kind of an untapped market, relatively speaking. Yep. Like I feel like in the last, not so much during the pandemic, but post, like 2022, 23.
I agree.
I feel like Japanese collectibles have become more mainstream in the West.
I think it's almost like once the world opened up again, Japanese has kind of been taking off a bit.
Yeah, and you know, it's like anime artwork. I've noticed huge gains on those kinds of things, even in Japan, even just Japanese auctions. Things have been going for a lot more than I expected. And now we're seeing like, Pokemon cards. Japanese Pokemon cards are pretty normal over here now.
Yep.
I feel like American collectors are gravitating towards
No, I agree.
them.
When I first started into Pokemon cards back in 2019, 2020, yeah, like Japanese was not as normalized as it is
you
now.
wouldn't
Not
even
at all.
consider like a Japanese first edition Charizard versus the American
Oh,
one.
exactly.
But like nowadays it's like, oh, like there's like crazy trophy cards and all these other things.
No rarity Zard sells for more than PSA 10 first edition Zard.
Yeah,
Like the Japanese no rarity is worth more.
Yeah, doesn't surprise me.
It's we've come a long way in normalizing all this
we've almost
stuff.
seen kind of a flip a little bit.
Welcome to a global market.
Yeah. And that's really what it's becoming. I mean, when you think about the world pop culture markets all over, it's really North America and Japan.
Yes,
like
there's a lot of European interest. There is,
yeah,
but
absolutely.
I think customs and everything really, like taxes and customs, really make it hard for European people to enter.
Yeah, but I mean, I think like when you look at just how original things are.
Oh
like,
yes,
the pop culture of Japan has put out like worldwide phenomenon pop culture stuff.
Yeah, time and time again.
Yeah, and North America. I don't want to say North America; it's mostly the U.S. Hollywood culture. Those are kind of the two countries I immediately think about when I think of pop culture. It's Japan and the USA.
And those are the two things I collect.
Yeah,
like and manga grading starting up now. They're going to see big jumps in that as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's funny because people use Japan still, getting out of the way of sealed and graded stuff. Like importing Japanese games and stuff, it's still incredibly cheap to do so. Buying Super Famicom equivalents or Famicom or even N64 stuff.
Yeah.
Ours might cost, like Chrono Trigger, for example. Ours costs what, $700, $5 for a nice CIB. You can get a nice complete in box for like $50 to $100 out of Japan. Sure, it's Japanese language and stuff, but like if you're just looking to collect stuff or shelf ornament or you know what I mean, whatever you want to do with it, you can get yourself a complete in box for like, relatively speaking, nothing.
Yeah.
And a lot of stuff is like that.
And that's probably, it's a cool way to build up a shelf collection of, say Super Nintendo games, Super Famicom.
Stuff you care about.
Yeah.
You can get a cartridge for like $5-10.
Yeah.
That's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
So with so many people, I don't know if that was like a secret beforehand or if it's just like you said, the normalization of Japanese stuff, but lots of people seem to be importing it from what I see on Reddit and stuff. And like, there's starting to be that blowback of people who think they deserve it, or you know what I mean? Like, there's that blowback of like, oh, ruining the culture, like, oh, importing all this, you don't even speak the language.
Who cares? I mean,
not playing my games, bro. What do you think?
I mean, Japanese culture is revered. Their exports have been really incredible. I mean, I can't think of. I mean, for sure, European culture is very different, but Japanese, I think, where their real success has lied is in the pop culture that has traveled over here. I remember watching the Pokemon anime back then. Actually, Sailor Moon was my first anime because it was on YTV, right? So
yes, sir.
I remember watching it, and then when the Pokemon anime came out, it's like, oh, why does it look like Sailor Moon? Like as a kid, you just don't.
No, I know cartoons. There was just certain cartoons that looked different, but you didn't know why.
Yeah, it's like, why did this look different?
Why does this not look like?
Yeah, you don't even know what anime is when you're a kid. Yeah, because it's dubbed in English, of course. So,
of course, but yeah, no, it's crazy to see. But $26,000 for that Famicom Mario. I mean, I just the like genuinely the Japanese pump. In order for this price to sustain itself, we would have to see like no more of these come out.
That's the problem. You're going to see more.
Oh, it's going to. I'd say every 3 months we're going to get one for the next 2 years.
Yeah.
Like, yes, it's rare. Don't get me wrong. It's an unopened Famicom Mario Bros. But like, especially being a late production, we are going to see more. You're going to have more shots at 90s, 90 pluses. It's not even a 95. That's what scares me so much. It's like, what are we saying? The 95 is worth 50,000? There's someone out there going to pay 50,000 for it can't happen right now.
It's always first to market.
It is.
Yeah,
it is.
You win the race, and then the rest of the people suffer after.
That's kind of how I think this one's gonna play out.
Yeah,
it's crazy to me. I still need to make a video about that. I gotta do that guy a solid and be like, oh my god, Japanese games are going up. Like maybe this guy won't lose everything.
Bye.
I'm doing what I can, sir.
Yeah,
you're still probably gonna lose your money, but like I'm trying, man. I'm trying. Yeah. And the last thing, just going back to old time collecting here, Stadium Events cartridge. CGC 8.0 for 18,600, which on the surface, like that's pretty darn good for a Stadium Events cart. That's holding up decently, but at the same time, I feel like the Stadium Events cartridge has cost the exact same for like the past 5 years. Like I feel like it's been floating in that 15,000-ish range for the past forever.
Yeah.
It didn't see a massive spike, hasn't collapsed. I don't know if it's just its inherent rarity keeping it going there. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. I'd like your opinion, but is Stadium Events going to stay relevant?
I mean, I think it's too ingrained in the collector culture now to really move anywhere. It's kind of like the quintessential cart you find at a garage sale.
Like that is the story cartridge.
Yeah.
You look for Stadium Events.
Yeah, I think so. For NES collectors, yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't think, is there really another NES cart that people would pay that much for?
That not retail one, like
No.
NWC is the only prototypes.
Obviously.
Yeah, you got to go into the world of anything else because no cartridge even sniffs Stadium Events for value.
Yeah.
I just worry about its nicheness overall. In bringing in new people to care about it, I guess, would be how I say.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how, comics and stuff works. I know about first appearances, very popular books, popular characters. How have niche or like does that it has to exist, right? In the comic world, people going after rare books that are rare because they're rare. Because that's what Stadium Events is. It's rare because it's rare.
Oh yeah, for sure. There's lots of like underground comics and stuff like Cerberus, the comic Cerberus is like an underground printing, very rare. Goes for a decent amount of money.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, obviously your buyer pool is limited because of its nicheness. But at the same time, there are people who love that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so as long as the category keeps going strong, we should see new interest or at least sustained interest keep coming towards
I think so. I mean,
Stadium Events.
I don't really see Stadium Events crashing, but I don't really see it gaining either.
Yeah, like 10 years from now is 18,600. Is it going to be worth more? What do you think?
I mean, theoretically.
Just because?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Okay.
Yeah.
Assuming the hobby keeps going, we should see it do something.
Yeah. I mean, I think the hobby will, in all likelihood, continue growing.
Because, right underneath it, just looking at the comps right here, is Nintendo Power number 1, 9.4 for 16,800. Like, it's like almost worth more than Stadium Events now. Yeah. Give me one or the other. I'm taking Nintendo Power 1 every time.
Yeah, it's much more attractive, that's for sure. I mean, like, I wouldn't even consider Stadium Events just because it's like, I don't like how it looks.
It's
just like
it's funny because it's so deeply ingrained in my collecting culture that I almost like it's like you start acting like it's good art or it's good like you're like, oh, the two guys running, like
you're trying to justify the price. Yeah,
I don't know if it's the price or the representation of the art that makes the art good, like kind of like a Mona Lisa. You see it and like, oh, that's the Mona Lisa.
Yeah,
like, is it good art? I don't even know. I don't know how to appraise it anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Stadium Events. Is it good? I don't know.
I feel like if it had a box, it's much more attractive.
Okay.
To me, like I was never just a cart collector. I was like, no, I want the box. Like I want to see the art.
Yeah, give another $15K to get yourself a box or whatever.
Yeah,
I don't even know what the last CIB sold for.
Yeah, I think that's more worth it to get a CIB than just a cart.
Well, you say worth it. Like I said, I think you're jumping. I know 25,000 in value probably.
Yeah,
to get a CIB.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, if you look at the value proposition between just a cart or a box, or a cart or a complete copy, I think you're going to be better off with the complete copy, even though it costs more money. There's more value there.
Would you rather just have a box with a cartridge?
Honestly, a box.
I think I would too.
I don't like carts. Carts on their own just never did anything for me.
I really feel like the hobby is going to transition harder in that direction where the paper and the cardboard just like it far outweigh the cartridges.
Well, it's much more fragile and much more rare. So
it just should, right? The boxes and cartridges, or the boxes and manuals should have multiples.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Multiple. Yeah. Okay.
What was the grade of that card again?
The Stadium Events was an 8.0 CGC.
Yeah. I could see someone who had maybe parts who would buy that, crack it out, complete it,
put it together.
That's what I would do.
Yeah.
Much more value in that for sure.
No, I hear you. And yeah, I think this hobby, like, we see it a lot with black box games is like, I guess probably the most, Sculptor's Cut is a good example too, where the box and the manual really trump the cartridge.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to see that even more so on like a more regular game, like say Final Fantasy II on Super Nintendo.
Mm.
I know it's an example where, you know, fully complete is already way more expensive, but I think boxes alone can get up to that. Like in the future, $200, $300, $400, $500 for a box easy.
Yeah.
And not like a super mint one. It's just like, if you want a Final Fantasy II box, as this hobby matures, I don't see why it can't be much more expensive than a cartridge.
Right. Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah. And especially those SNES black boxes, like they're so prone to damage.
Oh yeah, like
it's really hard to get really nice ones.
Yes, anything 9.0 or above.
Yeah.
It's like, man, that's a nice box.
Yeah, and same, you know, similar to comics. Any comics that have like a black cover or something, you're just like, oh, you see every flaw.
Yes.
You know?
But you had some things too here.
Oh
I
yeah,
believe in the world of art, we had some actually come up to
yeah.
the
So
signature.
there were some cool pieces of art in the
the
auction.
iPhone there I see. Is that what you wanted to talk about? You're a big iPhone guy.
Oh god, no.
What was the price on the iPhone? Sorry, just quick now that I saw it.
That iPhone is a CAS 85, and it was 21.6.
Oh man, it's
Sure.
crazy. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how I feel about it too. But like, then I'm like, oh yeah, right. I would spend that on. We just talked about stadium events for $18,000.
Yeah.
Is it more stupid to buy an iPhone or stadium events? Basically
Well,
the same price.
You know, right next to it, literally, is the top selling piece of art, which was Ghoul Patrol by Del Thompson
On Super
on
Nintendo.
Super
Yes.
Nintendo.
The original box art then?
the original box art.
Oh my god.
So it's a big painting. It's sizable. It's gorgeous. Looks like it is in perfect condition. It sold for 22.8. So like, put that next to a freaking sealed first iPhone.
Oh man.
Like, makes no sense to me.
Me neither.
But you know, whatever attracts some people are into that stuff.
I know, and that's why I try to keep an open mind to it. But like when I see an iPhone selling for $21,000, it's really hard for me to like rationalize it.
Yeah, and why is it in the video game signature?
I don't understand that either.
Like that, just I don't understand it.
It just struck me as there's literally nowhere else we can put it. We'll throw it here. And it's still gone to $21,000.
Yeah. It seemed like an odd choice to clog up space in a video game signature with a first generation iPhone. Like what?
And I think they have variants too, the exact same as games and stuff. Like there's
Honestly, like put it in a toy auction. Like it's more
this
of,
little children's toy.
it's more of a toy than a freaking, I don't know.
It's electronic. I don't know.
Yeah, it's electronic.
I guess that's the justification, but
Yeah.
did you do you know who purchased the Ghoul Patrol? Is that
Yeah, so a guy in our art group actually. So the other top lot in the art segment was the Gex cover.
purchased by Scott the Waz? Is that
No. So the same guy actually in our art group bought both of them.
really?
Yeah.
What do you spend on the Gex?
So Gex was 21.
That's also for the original cover art.
Yeah, so that's PlayStation 3DO. I don't know why they have it
Yeah,
labeled
it was
3DO.
labeled as 3DO art.
Yeah. I would think PS1 long box would be much more attractive first than 3DO. I shouldn't say that because I have a
PlayStation or
3DO.
3DO.
I
like-
have a 3DO cover, so
What's the difference?
I mean, I just think 3DO is more niche.
Yeah, no, it is. But what do you mean you have a 3D? Oh, you have a game for
I have
3DO.
I have a painting. Yeah.
Oh, what game?
Killing Time.
Okay.
Yeah, the original Killing Time.
Yeah, I'm vaguely 3DO is getting.
Yeah, and it's really cool. Like it's the proportions are just like 3DO too. Like it's super tall.
Oh,
It's
that's
a
awesome.
Very tall painting. Yeah, skinny and tall.
Yeah, but
So
3DO.
yeah,
Yeah, when they said 3DO box art there, I was like, oh man, that's like in my head, I'm like, 3DO is not popular.
it's like who cares? Yeah,
I
If it
don't.
would've
I
been,
didn't
like,
want to say that.
PlayStation 1 long box.
Yes.
That would have. Yeah.
And when I was live, someone was like, "Oh, that's also the PlayStation one." And I was like,
oh, there
"Why
we
isn't
go.
that advertised?"
Yeah,
Like, that blew my mind. I don't know.
yeah,
Missed opportunity there.
yeah. And this painting, I know we some people had questions about how well it would do because it had some water damage and some mold in the upper right corner,
Oh, geez.
which
Can you like do any kind of sterilization or process to remove that?
I think it depends on the medium
Okay.
of the art. So if it's done with like water soluble paints, it's probably much more difficult to restore that because it'll just, as soon as you add moisture, the paint just runs.
Okay.
But if it's made with like acrylics that aren't water soluble, then it's probably possible to restore that. But I know there was some discussion over whether it was Heritage's photo of it or whether it had fading.
Oh, interesting.
Also, the other lot that I was going to talk about was Archon, and the picture that they have is very washed out compared to the actual art. So
Oh.
someone in the group posted a picture that the artist had sent them, and it was much more vibrant and rich. But
Okay.
the picture on the auction makes it look like it's like washed out.
So not the best photo job, you're saying?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if that was just the way they took the photo or
Well, even on games, sometimes you see very washed. Just
Mhm.
like the lighting isn't,
yeah,
or
it's
they
too
didn't
like too
contrast
white or
it.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And the Archon one went for.
13.2. It's pretty good for like an old PC
I mean, I
game.
thought it was incredible. I
Yeah.
didn't like. I don't know what Archon is. That is before my time. So I was
Yeah,
sitting
me
there. I
too.
was like,
1984. I wasn't even born then. So
yeah. So I was watching that auction, and it was like 9,000, 10,000, 11,000. I was like, oh my god, like
yeah,
should I know Archon?
yeah.
Like, is this that it is that point of like, okay, this is nothing. Then it's like, oh man, like, am I wrong here?
Yeah.
No, it's the children who are wrong. Like,
It definitely Archon, I know, has definitely fan base. Archon 1 and 2. I don't. It's probably not as strong as something like Ultima. Like I think of an Ultima painting.
well, we had that. Oh man, I think it was at the signature. There was Ultima something or other that
yeah,
came up.
there was a prelim.
Do you know what the heck that thing? No, not even art. Sorry. It was a game. I don't know how much deep you go into Ultima with your knowledge.
Not really.
I'm about to test you now that you
Not
brought
really.
it up. Because Ultima is the one that always, PC, early PC. That's what sticks out to me
Right.
the most.
Right.
Christ, I think it was at the signature. Okay, yeah, it was Ultima Escape from Mount Drash for the Commodore, and it was a CIB. And here you can look at it.
Okay.
Like it's awful condition. Like
And
it's the box.
3,100.
Yes,
Wow.
yes, $3,000 for a box that's hardly holding itself together. So you say the world of Ultima is desirable. I think that's an understatement.
Yeah, I mean it's those old Sierra adventure titles. Those have some serious fans for sure.
Yes.
Like I think if is it? I'm trying to remember which artist did a bunch of the Ultima art. Was it Keith Parkinson? One of the really well-known fantasy artists.
Oh, it is
did a
too,
lot
eh?
of Ultima artwork, and that kind of stuff would.
Has any of it hit the market?
Not publicly.
Okay.
No.
Not publicly.
Privately, I'm sure it would be close, if not over six figures.
I was going to say it has to be.
Yeah.
We're watching Gex sell for 20K.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, something-
No offense to Gex, but
Something like Ultima, which is probably a huge, oil-based fantasy painting. You're looking at a lot of money. I know
Yes.
even like Space Quest 4 was available,
okay.
and that was well over six figures.
I don't
Which
even,
kinda
like,
shocked
I'm not
me. I
even
was like-
familiar.
No, I was like for Space Quest, I was
Like Space Quest means a little bit to me. I'm
Yeah.
like vaguely familiar with the two words in that order.
Yeah.
But like, that's it.
yeah.
I
but
don't-
again, it's the Sierra Online, sci-fi adventure stuff.
Yeah.
Which has
getting into the true like history of kind of PC gaming there.
yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah, I don't have any. Well, I shouldn't say I don't have any Ultima artwork because I do, but it's a magazine cover.
Oh, yuck.
Magazine
No,
cover
I
painting.
gotta-
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's literally so when Ultima Underworld came out, I bought this painting from Paul Kidby. It's a UK artist,
Okay.
and it's lovely. But I remember looking at other magazines of the era trying to find another painted cover for Ultima Underworld, and there just wasn't anything. This is literally the only one.
What year is Ultima Underworld?
92.
Okay.
91.
Yeah, it's still
92.
very early.
Yeah. So very, quite an innovative game in terms of. I think it was like one of the very earliest FPS style RPGs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like dungeon crawler style. Yeah.
Is this a piece that you are holding on to indefinitely?
Yeah, for a while probably. Yeah.
There's that's a high inflection there.
I mean,
if the right offer comes around, that's what that told me.
As long as I like it, I mean, I have so many things I don't really need, but I like.
Yeah.
So
That's where this one falls.
yeah, I think
You
so.
don't necessarily need it, but like
Yeah, but it's cool.
it's Ultima.
Yeah, and it looks great.
Yeah.
It's a really beautiful painting.
I
So,
believe you fully on that.
yeah, for sure.
Did you sell anything in this auction yourself?
A few things. I had some prelims go. It did fine. Yeah,
That's a high inflection again.
It's fine. It was okay. Could have done better, but whatever.
Is that how you always feel at auction though? It's like
I just like it's such. I hate the act of like selling stuff and going through the process of trying to find a buyer for something. So I'm just
like if you mean trying to get a private sale for some stuff.
yeah. I don't enjoy the process all that much. So a lot of times I'm just like throw whatever I don't want in an auction. Stuff that I'm not really attached to.
And some of it did as good as you were hoping, at least?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not like huge regrets.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. We'll find out.
I don't think so, yeah.
Yeah, it is still coming to terms with everything. This is still fresh. It's only a couple weeks out, so.
Yeah, I mean, you literally, you can't hold on to everything and hope you get top dollar for every single thing you own. You're never going to move anything if you think that way, so.
It is. It's very true. Unfortunately, fortunately, however it is. Some of the pieces in here, I'm just like looking at the bottom of the auction here. Because some of the art went there. It's like $129, $159. I think you were the time slips there.
Yeah.
They're almost at the bottom of the auction, not to rub anything in here, but like, $432 for the two pieces there.
Yeah.
I don't know. It sounds decent.
That for me, that's pretty decent. Yeah.
Okay.
I was going to keep them with the painting, and then I'm just like, I have stuff sitting in portfolios and just stuff where I could, get some money out of it and put it towards another piece I like better.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, prelims don't really. I know some people like them and they frame them, and obviously if they're from important games, they can be very valuable. But for me, a prelim sitting in a portfolio is just like, well,
why?
Maybe I could buy something else with that.
Kind of sell a bunch of these $200 to $500 pieces and buy yourself one $4,000 piece. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of the what a lot of people are doing, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
Or at least a lot of longtime collectors. I feel like there is a lot of consolidation happening.
Yeah. I always think you want to try and, refine your collection. Get rid of the stuff that doesn't really mean anything to you or you think someone else might like better.
100%. I say it all the time. Audit your collection. Go through your stuff. At least once a year, I think you should probably go through and like, okay, what don't I need?
Yeah.
What am I no longer attached to?
Yeah. And what are you after?
Yes, exactly.
It's like, what would you rather have?
Year by year, that's going to change. Like, I have I have like half of a complete in-box Game Gear collection. Why?
Why?
Why
no one wants that trash.
Why do I have this? But back in like 2016, like I loved it.
Yeah.
Collecting Game Gear was super fun.
Yeah.
8 years later, I'm like, man, I don't want any of this.
Yeah.
And I can probably clear it out in $5,000 to $10,000 for it. Probably. Yeah. Like,
well, that could buy you a
buy me something I actually want.
You could have bought that Smash Bros, bro.
I was about to say, get myself Mario 64.
Yeah, it's like, what would you rather have? That or like a box of Game Gear stuff?
2 or 3 boxes of stuff that I don't look at, go into ever.
Yeah.
Or one item I can actually just like, boom, display it on my shelf. It's far more liquid if I ever, like maybe emergency happens. I need to sell it. Oh, well, I have one item instead of 150.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of benefit to having singular expensive items versus, the most fun of collecting is buying everything. I'll be honest. That is like, you get into collecting something, buy everything.
Yeah.
Buy everything, learn everything.
Yeah. It's the hunt.
It is.
Yeah. And I've been actually buying some manga.
Oh man, you're in.
Yeah.
They started grading it and you're in for the pump.
I know. Well, I love Full Metal Alchemist.
Okay.
And it has been incredibly difficult to find first print Full Metal Alchemist Volume 1.
Really?
Yeah.
What kind of price point are we talking about?
Like, I mean, I feel like there's a range. Like some people are asking $800 US for something. Okay. I mean, I'm just looking for something that's affordable and someone who has pictures, like proper pictures, so that I can know whether it's first print.
Where does it say first or?
So
is it nuanced or is it like pretty easy?
In the back of the manga is the published information page.
Okay.
And also, I believe on the spine, the first 4 volumes are just Enix, not Square Enix, because that was before the merger.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so first prints will have just the Enix.
That makes it really easy.
Yeah, I think it's possible they could have done a second print in that, like before the merger. Yeah. So I don't know if you can just go off the spine alone. I don't know enough about it at this point.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. That's fair. It's like that one super rare, like when you talk about the Square and the Enix and stuff, there's that one version of Final Fantasy X that has a black label after the merger, but before the greatest hits. It's like the middle printing, and they just did a sliver of them.
Yeah.
But it's rare as hell.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's one of those things.
Yeah, that's awesome, though. So hopefully you can get your hands on some FMA manga.
Yeah.
I want to buy Dragon Ball, too, but like, I don't know.
Yeah.
First appearance of Dragon Ball is like thousands of dollars already.
Yeah. You're looking at a few grand if you can find a nice one.
Yeah.
And I don't even know how the grading's going. Like, are they able to grade these gigantic Shonen Jump? Because like when you look at those things, they're like,
oh no, I know,
they're like 2 inches thick.
They're giving you a brick of acrylic if they are grading.
Like, how do you slab that?
I agree.
I don't understand. I mean, I understand pulps because they're generally thinner, like maybe a third that thick.
I really, really, really hope that BGS is doing some kind of form-fitted sizing. I just saw someone share a Legend of Zelda Japanese player's guide,
Mm.
and it's kind of thick
Hmm.
and very small, like maybe 6 inches high, few inches across, and they used a normal comic slab on it with spacers on the sides and the bottom. So
Mm.
aesthetically, it looks awful because the book takes up 1/5 of the entire space of the
Yeah, I've
case.
seen that. Like there's that Sonic promo comic. It's a
Yes,
mini comic,
exactly.
right? And it just looks awful
It
in
looks
most
awful.
cases. Yeah.
There's no framing. It looks awful. Like it looks awful.
Yeah.
So I really, really hope that BGS does something to give these mangas and stuff like the proper love they deserve. And this isn't just like a one size fits all. Like that's what you get.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tricky because I mean, I know like, the Full Metal Alchemist volumes are just like little books, easy, much easier to encase.
Yes.
But when you're looking at like an issue of Shonen Jump, you're looking at like a compendium,
Best
like a
word for it.
freaking textbook.
That is the best word for it.
So, yeah, I just don't know how that's going to work, but I mean, you never know.
Here's hoping they do it right.
Yeah, for sure.
So you got to go that next level. You got to
Yeah.
have the perfect, the super perfect.
Super perfect.
So,
Yeah.
But on that note, I'll let you guys go. Make sure to leave a comment down below, hit the like button. I'll see you guys in the next episode.